I'm the opposite of a stage magician. He gives you illusion that has the appearance of truth. I give you truth in the pleasant disguise of illusion. To begin with, I turn back time. I turn it back to that quaint period, the 30s, when the huge middle class of America was matriculating in a school for the blind. Their eyes had failed them, or they had failed their eyes. And so they were having their fingers pressed forcibly down on that fiery braille alphabet of a dissolving economy. In Spain there was revolution. Here there was only shouting and confusion. In Spain there was Guernica. Here there were disturbances of labor, sometimes pretty violent, in otherwise peaceful cities such as Chicago, Cleveland, St. Louis. This is the social background of our play. The story is memory. Being a memory play, it is sentimental. It is not realistic. In memory, everything seems to happen to music. Memory of a tenement, down a back alley near a streetcar light. Streetcars starting, stopping all night long. Down a back alley next to a dance hall. A tenement, you enter the left by 2 steps up or down a fire escape. A structure whose name was a touch of accidental poetic truth. For the building was always burning with the slow fires of human desperation. I'm the narrator, and also a character in the story. The other characters are my mother Amanda, a little woman of great but confused vitality, clinging frantically to another time and place.
Sometimes there just weren't enough chairs to accommodate all the gentlemen callers who came to see me on Sunday afternoon. I declare we often had to send a servant to get folding chairs from over at the parish house.
And my sister Laura, crippled slightly, limping from a childhood disease, and separated from life until she was like a piece of her own little glass collection, too exquisitely fragile to move from the shelf.
Why, I don't sit around doing nothing. My glass collection takes up a good deal of time. Glass is something you have to take good care of.
Later in the story, a gentleman caller appears. He is the most realistic character, being an emissary from a world of reality that we were somehow set apart from. There's a fifth character in the play who doesn't appear, except in this larger-than-life-size photograph of the mantel. This is our father, who left us a long time ago. He was a telephone man who fell in love with long distance. He gave up his job with the telephone company and skipped the light fantastic out of town. The last we heard from him was a picture postcard from Mazatlan, on the Pacific coast of Mexico, containing a message of 2 words: hello, goodbye, and no address. I think the rest of the play will explain itself.
Tom, honey, now don't push with your fingers. If you have to push with something, the thing to push with is a crust of bread. And chew, chew. Animals have secretions in their stomachs which enable them to digest the food without mastication. But human beings are supposed to chew their food before they swallow it down. Now chew your food and give your salivary glands a chance to function.
Salivary glands. Animal secretions. I haven't enjoyed one bite of this meal because of your constant silly directions on how to eat it. Sickening, it spoils my appetite, makes me sick to the stomach.
Temperament like a metropolitan star. You're not excused from this table.
You're getting a cigarette.
You smoke too much.
I'll bring the dessert now, Mother.
No, Laura. You're going to be the lady this time, and I'm going to be the servant.
But I'm already up.
Resume your seat, little sister. I want you to stay fresh and pretty for those gentlemen callers. I'll get the dessert.
I'm not expecting any gentlemen callers.
Well, sometimes they come when you least expect them. Why, I remember one Sunday afternoon in Blue Mountain where...
Oh no, I know what's coming.
Tom, let her tell it. She loves to tell it.
I remember that Sunday afternoon in Blue Mountain when your mother received 17 gentlemen callers. Why, sometimes there just weren't enough chairs to accommodate them all.
Well, how did he entertain all these gentlemen callers?
With conversation.
I bet you could talk.
Girls in those days knew how to talk, I can tell you.
What did you talk about?
Things of importance and going on in the world. Never anything called so vulgar or common. My callers were gentlemen, all of them. Among my callers were some of the most prominent young planters of the Mississippi Delta. Planters and sons of planters. There was a young chap, Laughlin, who was later became the vice president of the Delta Planters Bank. And then there was Hadley Stevenson, who was drowned in Moon Lake and left his widow $150,000 in government bonds. Then there was Bates Couture, my bright particular beau. He got in a quarrel with that Wainwright wild boy, and they shot it out on the floor of Moon Lake Casino. His widow was also well provided for. And then there was that beautiful, brilliant Fitzhugh boy from Greene County.
When did he leave his widow?
Oh, he never married. What's the matter with you? You talk as if all my old admirers had turned up their toes to the daisies. And I could have been Mrs. Duncan J. Fitzhugh, mind you. And what did I do? I picked your father.
Mother, let me clear the table.
No, dear, you go in front and you study your typewriter chart or practice your shorthand a little. You stay fresh and pretty now. It's almost time for your gentlemen callers to start arriving. Now, how many do you suppose you're going to entertain this afternoon?
I don't believe we're going to receive any, Mother.
What? No one? Not one? You must be joking. Not one gentleman caller? Well, what happened? Was there a flood? Was there a tornado?
It isn't a tornado. It isn't a flood, Mother. I'm just not popular like you were in Blue Mountain.
Oh, nonsense. I don't believe it. You stay right there and fresh and pretty. Did you brush your hair? I noticed that it needed brushing.
You know, Tom, Mother's afraid that I'm going to end up an old maid.
Mother was afraid, and her way of coping with this possibility that Laura should be an old maid was to enroll her in a business college. One day, after a visit to the school to check on her daughter's progress, she came home to confront Laura.
Laura Wingfield, where have you been going when you've gone out pretending to attend the secretarial school?
Mother,
Don't lie to me. I stopped by the school today to see how you were doing, and what did they tell me? That you haven't been attending for weeks, and that your hand shook so badly that you couldn't hit the right keys on the typewriter, and that you were sick to your stomach the first time they gave you a speed test. After that, you never showed up again.
Oh, please, Mother.
Where have you been going?
I've just been going out walking.
Walking? From 7:30 until 5 every day? You mean to tell me that you've been going out walking because you wanted me to think that you were still going to secretarial school?
It wasn't as bad as it sounds. I went inside places to get warmed up.
Inside where?
I went into the art museum and the birdhouses at the zoo. I visited the penguins every day. Sometimes I did without lunch and I went to the movies.
You did all this to deceive me. Just with deception? Why? Why?
I couldn't face it. Mother, when you get disappointed, you get that awful suffering look on your face, like the picture of Jesus' mother in the museum.
Hush. So what are we going to do with the rest of our lives, huh? Stay home and watch the parades go by? Play those worn-out phonograph records that your father left as a painful reminder of him? Amuse ourselves with the glass menagerie? Oh, I know too well what becomes of unmarried women who aren't prepared to occupy a position. Those barely tolerated spinsters living upon the grudging patronage of some sister's husband or brother's wife, stuck away in a little mousetrap of a room, encouraged by one in-law to visit another in-law, little bird-like women without any nest, eating a crust of humility all their life. Is that the future we've mapped out for ourselves?
I don't know what to say.
Of course, some girls do marry. Laura, haven't you ever liked some boy?
Well, yes. I liked one once. I came across his picture a while ago.
He gave you his picture?
No, it's from the high school yearbook.
Oh, a high school boy.
Yes, his name was Jim. He used to call me Blue Roses.
And why did he call you a silly name like that for?
When I had that attack of pleurosis, he asked me what the matter was when I came back. I said pleurosis, but he thought I said blue roses. So that's what he called me after that. Whenever he saw me, he'd holler, "Hello, Blue Roses!"
Well, girls that aren't cut out for business careers usually wind up married to some nice young man. Now, sister, that's what you'll do.
But Mother,
Yes?
I'm crippled.
Nonsense, Laura. I told you never, never to use that word. Why, you're not crippled. You just have a little defect, that's all. Hardly noticeable, even.
That's not true.
When people have some slight disadvantage, Laura, like that, they cultivate other things to make up for it. Develop charm and vivacity and charm. That's all you have to do. Then you won't have any trouble in finding a husband.
From that day on, the idea of getting a gentleman caller for Laura began to play a more and more important part in Mother's calculations. It became an obsession, like some archetype of the universal unconscious. The image of the gentleman caller haunted our small apartment. An evening at home hardly passed without some allusion to this image, this spectre, this hope. And because Mother was a woman of action as well as words, she began to take logical steps realizing that extra money would be needed to properly feather the nest and plume the bird. She conducted a vigorous campaign on the telephone, roping in subscribers to one of those magazines for matrons called The Homemaker's Companion.
Hello? Ida Scott? This is Amanda Wingfield. We missed you at the DAR meeting last Monday. I said to myself, she's probably suffering with that sinus condition. How is that sinus condition? Oh, heaven have mercy. You're a Christian martyr, that's what you are, you know? You're a Christian martyr. Well, Ida, I just now happen to notice that your subscription to the Homemaker's Companion is about to expire. And just when that wonderful new series by Bessie May Harper is getting off to such an exciting start. You know, this was the first one that she's written since Honeymoon for Three. Oh, this one's even lovelier. It's all about the horse she sent on Long Island. A debutante gets thrown from her horse while taking him over the jumps at a regatta. And his spine is injured. You listen to me, Ida? Ida? Ida, are you still there? Well, I declare, she's hung up.
Oh, what in Christ's name am I supposed to do?
Don't you use that expression, not my presence. Have you gone out of your senses?
I have been driven out!
What is the matter with you, you big idiot?
Look, I've got no single thing in my life that I can call my own. Everything is...
Lower your voice and stop that shouting.
Yesterday you confiscated my books. You had the nerve to... Where did you put it?
I took that horrible novel back to the library. That hideous book by that insane Mr. D.H. Lawrence.
You didn't.
I cannot control the output of diseased minds or people who cater to them. But I won't allow such filth brought into my house. No, 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 no.
House? House? Your house? Who pays rent on it? Who makes a slave of himself to...
Don't you dare to...
No, I mustn't say things. I've got just to...
Let me tell you.
I don't want to listen anymore.
You will hear more, you.
No, I won't hear more. I'm going out.
You come right back in.
Out.
Come back in here, Tom Wingfield. I'm not through talking to you. Tom, you're gonna listen, and there's no more insolence from you. I am at the end of my patience.
Well, what do you suppose I'm at the end of? I know it seems unimportant to you what I'm doing, what I want to do.
I think that you've been doing things that you're ashamed of, and that's why you act like this. I don't believe that you go to the movies every night. Nobody goes to the movies night after night, and nobody in their right mind goes to the movies as often as you pretend to. People don't go to the movies at nearly midnight. And movies don't let out at 2 a.m. Coming and stumbling, muttering to yourself like a maniac. What right do you have to jeopardize your job? Jeopardize the security of all of us? How do you think we'd manage if you only think of yourself?
Mother, listen! You think I'm crazy about the warehouse? You think that I enjoy going down there to the Continental Shoemakers? You think I want to spend 55 years down there in that Celtics interior with fluorescent tubes? I'd rather somebody picked up a crowbar and battered my brains out than go back there every morning. Every time you come into my room yelling that goddamn rise and shine, I say to myself, how lucky dead people are. I get up, I go for $65 a month. I give up everything that I ever dreamed of doing and being, ever, for $65 a month. You can say to me that self is all I ever think of. If self was all I ever thought of, you know where I'd be, Mother? I'd be where Father is, gone, as far as the system of transportation could take me.
Where are you going now?
I'm going to the movies.
I don't believe that lie.
All right. I'm going to opium dens.
Oh?
Yes, opium dens. Dens of vice and criminals' hangouts. I'm a hired assassin, Mother. They call me Killer. Killer Wingfield. I'm leading a double life. Simple, honest warehouse worker by day. By night, a dynamic tsar of the underworld. Mother, I go to gambling casinos. I spin away fortunes on the roulette table. I wear a patch over one eye and a false mustache. Sometimes I put on green whiskers. Oh, I could tell you things to make you sleepless. My enemies plan to dynamite this place. And they're going to blow us all sky high. And you're going up on a broomstick high over Blue Mountain with 17 gentlemen callers, you ugly, babbling old witch.
You'll come back in this instant, Tom Wakefield. I will never speak to you again until you apologize.
I've been to the movies.
All this time at the movies?
Well, it was a very long program. There was a Greta Garbo picture, and a Mickey Mouse cartoon, and a travelogue, and a newsreel, and a preview of coming attractions. And there was an organ solo and a collection for Milk Fun simultaneously, which ended up in a terrible fight between a fat lady and an usher.
Well, did you have to stay through everything?
Of course! And oh, I forgot. There was a big stage show!
Tom, shh!
What are you shushing me for?
You'll wake Mother!
Good. That will pay her back for all those rise and shine!
Shh! Please, don't yell!
You know, the headliner of the stage show was this guy, Malvolio the magician. He did a trick with a pitcher. And he poured water from the pitcher into a glass. And you know what it turned out to be? Whiskey. And do you know how I know it turned out to be whiskey? Because he needed somebody to come up out of the audience to help him. And I came up. I came up both shows.
Tom, you lie down now, and in the morning I want you to apologize to Mother.
Laura, there was another trick. Coffin trick. That was the wonderfulest trick of all. Malvolio got into the coffin. We nailed it shut. Nailed it shut. And he got out of the coffin without removing a single nail. Without removing a nail. That's a trick that would come in handy for me to get me out of this 2x4 situation.
Rise and shine! Rise and shine!
I'll rise, but I won't shine.
Nora, tell your brother his coffin's ready.
Tom, it's nearly 7. Don't make Mother nervous. Make up with her, speak to her.
She won't speak to me. It's her that started the not speaking.
If you say you're sorry, then she'll start speaking again.
Her not speaking. Is that such a tragedy?
Please, please.
Mother, I apologize, Mother. I'm sorry for what I said, for everything that I said. I didn't mean it.
My devotion has made me hateful and a witch to my children.
No, it doesn't.
I worry so much. I don't sleep. It makes me nervous.
I understand that.
Oh, I've had to put up a solitary battle all these years. But you're my right-hand bower now. Don't fall down. Don't fail.
Well, I try, Mother.
Try and you will succeed. Why, you're just so full of natural endowments. Both of my children, they're unusual children. And don't you think I know it? I'm so proud, happy, and I feel that I have so much to be thankful for. But promise me one thing, son.
What, Mother?
Promise me, son, you'll never be a drunkard.
Mother, I'll never be a drunkard.
Now eat your shredded wheat.
Not just coffee.
Put cream in it
No, thank you.
to cool it.
I like it hot and I want it black.
There's no nourishment in black coffee, and drinking too much of it, hot liquids, makes cancer of the stomach. Tom, I want to discuss something with you.
Oh, well, what do you want to discuss?
Laura,
Laura.
she has an idea that you're not happy here.
What gave her that idea?
Well, you do act strangely. I'm not criticizing that, understand that, but Tom, why are you always so restless? And where do you go nights?
Mother, I go to the movies.
Why do you go to the movies so much, Tom?
I go to the movies because I like adventure.
But Tom, you go to the movies entirely too much.
I like a lot of adventure.
Most young men find adventure in their careers.
Well, then most young men are not employed in a warehouse. Man is by instinct a lover, a hunter, a fighter. And none of those instincts are given much play at the warehouse.
Instinct. Don't you quote instinct to me. Instinct is something that people have gotten away from. It belongs to animals, and Christian adults don't want it.
Well, what do Christian adults want then, Mother?
Superior things. Things of the mind and of the spirit. Only animals have to satisfy instincts, so surely your aims are higher than theirs, than monkeys or pigs. I swear more and more you remind me of your father. He was at all hours without any explanation, then he left. Goodbye. Left me holding the bag. I saw that letter that you had from the Merchant Marine. I know what you're dreaming of. And I'm not standing here blindfolded, Tom. Very well then, you do it. But not until there's somebody to take your place.
What do you mean?
I mean that as soon as your sister Laura has got somebody to take care of her, married, a home of her own, and independent, then you'll be free to go wherever you please, whenever and whichever way the wind blows. That's all right with me, but until that time, you've got to look out for your sister. I don't say me because I'm old and it doesn't matter. I say for your sister because she's young and dependent.
Look, Mother, I'm going to be late. I've got to go.
Tom, listen. Down at the warehouse, aren't there some nice young men?
No.
Oh, there must be some.
Mother.
Find one that's clean living and doesn't drink. And ask him out for sister.
What?
For sister, to me, to get acquainted.
Oh my God.
Tom, wait,
I gotta
please.
get to work, Mother.
Will you, Tom, dear? Please.
Across the alley from us was the Paradise Dance Hall. On evenings in spring, the windows and doors were open, and the music came outdoors. Sometimes the lights were turned out, except for a large glass sphere that hung from the ceiling. It would turn slowly about and filter the dusk with delicate rainbow colors. Then the orchestra played a waltz or a tango, something that had a slow and sensuous rhythm. Couples would come outside to the relative privacy of the alley. You could see them kissing behind ash pits and telegraph poles. This was the compensation for lives that passed like mine, without any change or adventure. Adventure and change were imminent in this year. They were waiting around the corner for all these kids. But here there was only hot swing music and liquor, dance halls, bars and movies, and sex that hung in the gloom like a chandelier and flooded the world with brief, deceptive rainbow.
A fire escape is a poor excuse for a porch. What are you out here looking at?
The moon.
There's a moon this evening?
Yeah, it's just rising over Garfinkel's delicatessen.
So it is. A little silver slipper of a moon. Have you made a wish on it yet?
Mm-hmm.
What did you wish for?
That's a secret.
Oh, a Secret, huh? Well, I won't tell you mine either. Mine will be I'm as mysterious as you.
I bet I can guess what yours is.
Is my head so
You're
transparent?
not a sphinx.
No, I don't have secrets, but I'll tell you what I wish for. On this moon here tonight, success and happiness for my two precious children. I wish for that whenever there's a moon, and whenever there isn't a moon, I wish for it too.
I thought perhaps you wished for a gentleman caller.
Why would you say that?
Don't you remember asking me to fetch one?
Well, I think I made that suggestion more than once.
Yes, you have made it repeatedly.
Well,
Well, we're going to have one.
what?
A gentleman caller.
You mean you asked some nice young man to come over?
Yep, I've asked him to dinner
Soon?
pretty soon.
How soon?
Well, he's coming tomorrow.
Tomorrow? But Tom!
Yes.
Tomorrow's too soon. It doesn't give me any time.
Time for what?
Oh, preparations. Why didn't you phone me at once as soon as you asked him? The minute that he accepted. I mean, then don't you see? I could have been getting ready.
Well, you don't have to make any fuss.
Oh, Tom, of course I have to make a fuss. I want things nice, not sloppy, not thrown together. We can't have a gentleman caller in a pigsty. All my wedding silver has to be polished, the monogram table linen has to be laundered, and the windows have to be washed, and fresh curtains hung up. How about clothes? And we have to wear something, don't we?
Mother! 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 This boy is no one to make a fuss over.
Do you realize he's the first young man that we've introduced to your sister?
If you're going to make such a fuss, I'll call him off. I'll tell him not to come.
You certainly won't do anything of the kind. Nothing offends people more than broken engagements. Now, it simply means that I'll have to work harder. It won't be brilliant, but we'll pass inspection. Now, thank heavens I got that new sofa. Of course, I'd hope to have these walls repapered, but, what is this young man's name?
His name is O'Connor.
Irish. That, of course, means fish, and tomorrow's Friday. Tom, he doesn't drink, does he?
Now, why do you ask me that?
Well, your father did.
Don't get started on that.
Aha, he does drink then.
Not that I know of.
Make sure. Be certain. The last thing I want for my daughter is a boy who drinks.
Aren't you being a little premature? Mr. O'Connor has not yet appeared on the scene.
But he will tomorrow to meet your sister. What do I know about his character? Nothing. Old maids are better off than wives of drunkards.
Mother!
Be still.
Lots of fellows meet girls whom they don't marry.
Will you talk sensibly? Stop being sarcastic. Now, what is this young man's salary?
Well, I would judge this salary to be about $85 a month.
$85. Well, for a family man, $85 is not much more than you can just get by on.
Except he's not a family man.
Well, he might be, sometime in the future.
I see plans and provisions.
You are the only man that I know who ignores the fact that the future becomes the present. The present, the past, and the past turns into everlasting regret if you don't plan for it now. Now, tell me more about this, what do you call him?
James D. O'Connor, the D's for Delaney.
So Irish on both sides, and doesn't drink?
Shall I call him up and ask right this moment?
No, I just hope Mr. O'Connor's not too good looking.
No, he's not too good looking. He's covered with freckles and he hasn't got much of a nose.
He's not downright homely, though.
Not downright homely, just medium homely, I'd say.
Character is what to look for in a man. At least I hope he's not I hope he's the type that's up and coming.
I think he really goes in for self-improvement.
And what reason do you have to think
He
so?
goes to night school.
Splendid. What does he study?
Radio engineering and public speaking.
Oh, then he has visions of being advanced in the world.
Mother, one little warning. He doesn't know about Laura. I didn't let on that we had dark ulterior motives. I just said, why don't you come and have dinner with us? He said, okay. And that was the whole conversation.
I bet it was, because you're about as elegant as an oyster. And when he sees how lovely and sweet and pretty Laura is, he'll thank his lucky stars that he was asked to dinner.
You mustn't expect too much of Laura.
What do you mean?
Well, she does seem all those things to you and me because she's ours and we love her. We don't even notice she's crippled anymore.
Don't you say that word. You know I never allow that word to be used.
But face facts, Mother, she is, and that's not all. She lives in a world of her own, and those things make her seem a little peculiar. She lives with a dream world of little glass ornaments, and she plays old phonograph records, and those things can't help but make her seem peculiar to people.
Where are you going?
I'm going to the movies.
I don't believe you always go to the movies.
Good night.
Laura? Laura?
Yes, Mother?
You let those dishes go and come over here.
What do you want, Mother?
Laura, come here. Make a wish on the moon.
Moon?
A little silver slipper of a moon, Laura. Now look over your left shoulder, Laura, and make a wish. Make a wish, darling. Wish.
What
Wish.
shall I wish for, Mother?
Happiness, good fortune, maybe just a little bit of good fortune.
That evening, Mother managed to transform that apartment overnight. And Laura had a fragile, unearthly prettiness. Almost like a piece of translucent glass, touched by light, giving a momentary radiance. Not actual, not lasting.
Why are you trembling, Laura?
Mother, you've made me so nervous. All this fuss about my clothes and hair.
There, now take a look at yourself. No, wait, just a moment. I have an idea.
What is it now?
Hey,
Mother, what are you doing?
they call them gay deceivers.
I won't wear them.
You will wear them.
Why should I?
Because to be painfully honest, your chest is flat.
Oh, you make it seem like we're setting a trap.
Well, we are. All pretty girls are traps. A pretty trap, and men expect them to be. Now, look at yourself, young lady. This is the prettiest that you will ever be.
I'm not so sure.
You look lovely, just like an angel on a postcard. And what do you think of your mother? The way she looks?
Oh, it's very pretty, Mother.
It's something I resurrected from that old trunk. Styles haven't changed so terribly much after all.
Oh, it's lovely.
This is the dress that I had on the day that I met your father. That was the spring that I had the craze for jonquils. Jonquils became an absolute obsession. Mother said, honey, there's no more room for jonquils. And I still kept on bringing in more jonquils. Wherever I saw them, I'd say, stop, I see jonquils. I made the young men help me gather the jonquils. It was a joke, Amanda and her jonquils. Now, I hope your brother and Mr. O'Connor get here before the rain stops.
What did you say his name was?
O'Connor, James O'Connor.
Not Jim.
Yes, Jim. I never met a Jim who wasn't nice.
There was a Jim O'Connor we both knew in high school. If that's the one that Tom is bringing to dinner, you'll have to excuse me. I won't come to the table.
And what sort of nonsense is this?
Mother, you asked me once if I ever liked a boy.
You mean, Laura, you were in love with that boy?
All I know is, Mother, I couldn't sit at the table if it was him.
Well, it won't be him. It isn't the least bit likely. But whether it is or not, you will come to the table, and you will not be excused.
So I brought Jim home to dinner. I had known Jim slightly in high school. In high school, Jim was a hero. He was shooting with such velocity through his adolescence that you would logically expect him to arrive at nothing short of the White House by the time he was 30. But Jim apparently ran into more interference after his graduation. His speed had definitely slowed down. 6 years after he left high school, he was holding a job that wasn't much better than mine. He was the only one at the warehouse with whom I was in friendly terms. He called me Shakespeare. I knew that Jim and Laura had known each other at school, and I had heard Laura speak admiringly of his voice. I didn't know if Jim remembered her or not. In high school, Laura had been as unobtrusive as Jim had been astonishing. If he did remember Laura, it was not as my sister. For when I asked him to dinner, he grinned and said, "You know Shakespeare? I never thought of you as having folks." He was about to discover that I did.
Laura, sweetheart, the door. Oh, that's your brother, Mr. O'Connor. Will you let them in, darling?
Mother, you go get the door, please, please.
What is the matter with you, you silly thing?
Please, you answer it, please. I'm sick.
Well, I'm sick too. And this nonsense, why can't you and your brother just be normal people? Fantastic whims and behavior, preposterous goings-ons. Can you give me one good reason? Come in, just 1 second. Laura Wingfield, you march right to that door.
Yes, Mother.
Well, we thought you weren't gonna let us in. Jim, this is my sister Laura. Laura, this is Jim.
I didn't know Shakespeare had a sister.
How do you do?
Okay. Your hand is cold, Laura.
Yes, well, I've been playing the Victrola.
You must have been playing classical music on it. You ought to play a little hot swing music to warm you up.
Excuse me. I think I'm needed in the kitchen. I'll tell Mother you're here.
What was the matter, Tom?
Oh, with Laura. Laura is terribly shy.
Shy, huh? It's unusual to meet a shy girl nowadays. I don't believe you ever mentioned you had a sister.
Well, now you know I had one.
Uh-huh. Tom, Mr. Mendoza was speaking to me about you.
Favorably?
What do you think?
Well,
You're going to be out of a job if you don't wake up.
I am waking up.
You show no signs.
The signs are interior. Jim, I'm planning to change. I'm right at the point of committing myself to a future that doesn't include the warehouse and Mr. Mendoza, or even a night school course in public speaking.
What are you gassing about?
I'm tired of the movies.
Movies?
Yes, movies. People go to the movies instead of moving. Hollywood characters are supposed to have all the adventures for everybody in America. Well, everybody in America sits in a dark room and watches them have them. I'm tired of the movies, and I'm about to move. See this card?
What's that?
I'm a member.
The Union of Merchant Seamen.
I paid my dues this month, instead of the light bill.
You will regret it when they turn the lights off.
I won't be here.
How about your mother?
I'm like my father, the bastard son of a bastard.
You're just talking, you drip. How does your mother feel about it?
Mother's not acquainted with my plans. Shh! Here she comes.
Where are you all?
On the terrace, Mother.
Well, so this is Mr. O'Connor. Introductions are entirely unnecessary. I've heard so much about you from my boy. I finally said to him, Tom, good gracious, why didn't you bring this paragon to supper? I'd like to meet this nice young man at the warehouse. Instead of just hearing you sing his praises so much.
Well, Mrs. Wingfield.
We're having a light supper. I think light things are better for this time of year. The same as light clothes are, light clothes and light food are what warm weather calls for.
Mother?
Yes, honey?
How about supper?
Well, honey, you go to the kitchen and ask your sister if supper's ready. You know that your sister is in full charge of supper, and you tell her that you hungry boys are waiting for it.
Okay.
You've met Laura?
Yes, she let me in.
So she let you in. Oh, good. So you met her already. It's rare for a girl as sweet and pretty as Laura to be so domestic. But Laura is, thank heavens, not only pretty, but also very domestic. I'm not at all. I never was a bit. I could never make a thing but angel food cake. Well, in the South, we had so many servants. Gone, gone, gone. All vestige of gracious living gone completely. I wasn't prepared for what the future brought me. All of my gentlemen callers were planters or sons of planters, and so, of course, I assumed that I would be married to one and raise my family on a large piece of land.
It looks to me like supper's on the table.
Let me look. Oh, lovely. But where's sister?
Laura's not feeling well.
What?
And she says that she thinks she'd better not come to the table.
What nonsense. Laura? Oh, Laura?
Yes, Mother?
You really must come to the table, honey. We won't be seated until you come. Mr. O'Connor, you sit over there, and Laura Wingfield? You're keeping us waiting, honey. We just can't say grace until you come to the table. Oh, here she comes now. Laura, the table looks lovely. You've really outdone yourself.
May I help you with your chair, Laura?
Yes.
Laura!
Oh, Laura, you really are sick. Tom, help your sister into the living room. Sit in the living room, Laura, and rest on the sofa. Oh, it's a shame, Mr. O'Connor. I'm afraid that standing over that hot stove has made her ill. I told her that it was just too warm this evening, but she didn't want you to be disappointed. I'm sure she'll be feeling much better soon after supper. If Laura's comfortable, I think that we may be seated and have grace. Tom, honey, would you say grace?
For these and all thy mercies, God's holy name be praised. We had barely eaten the last bite of dessert when the lights went out.
Hey there, Mr. Lightbulb.
And where was Moses when the lights went out? Do you know the answer to that one, Mr. O'Connor?
No, ma'am. What's the answer?
In the dark. Everybody sit still, all light the candles. Now, which one of you gentlemen can provide a match?
Here we are.
Thank you. Sir, isn't electricity a mysterious thing? Wasn't it Benjamin Franklin who tied a key to a kite? Oh, we live in such a mysterious universe, don't we? Some people say that science clears up all the mysteries for us, but in my opinion, it only creates more. Surely, Tom, it can't be the fuse.
Yes, Mother?
That light bill that I gave you several days ago, the one I told you that we got the notices about?
Oh, yeah?
You didn't neglect to pay it by chance?
What?
Shakespeare here probably wrote a poem on that light bill, Mrs. Wingfield.
I might have known better than to trust him with it. There's such a high price for negligence in this world.
Maybe the poem will win a $10 prize.
Well, we'll just have to spend the remainder of the evening in the 19th century before Mr. Edison made the electric bulb.
Well, candlelight is my favorite kind of light.
That shows you're romantic. Tom, as a penalty for your carelessness, you can come help me with the dishes.
Let me give you a hand.
Indeed, you will not.
I ought to be good for something.
Good for something. Sister's all by her lonesome, so you could go and keep her company over there in the parlor. I'll give you this lovely old candelabrum, and how about you coax the sister to drink a little bit of wine? I think it'll be good for her. Can you carry everything at once?
Sure. I'm Superman.
I think you are. I really think you are.
Hello there, Laura.
Hello.
How are you feeling now? Better?
Oh, yes. Yes, thank you.
I brought you a little light and some dandelion wine.
Oh, why, thank you.
Drink it, but don't get drunk. But where should I put the candles?
Oh, anywhere.
How about here on the floor. Any objections? I like to sit on the floor. Mind if I do?
Oh, no.
How about you? Don't you like to sit on the floor?
Oh, yes.
Well, why don't you then?
I will.
Let's get some pillows. Comfortable?
Yes.
So am I. Comfortable as a cow. Will you have some gum?
Oh, no, thank you.
I think that I shall indulge, with your permission. Think of the fortune made by the guy that invented the first piece of chewing gum. Amazing, huh?
Oh, yes.
Your brother tells me you're shy. Is that right, Laura?
I don't know.
I judge you to be an old-fashioned type of girl. Well, I think that's a pretty good type to be. I hope you don't think I'm being too personal, do you?
I believe I will take a piece of gum, if you don't mind. Mr. O'Connor, have you kept up with your singing?
Singing? Me?
Yes. I remember what a beautiful voice you had.
You've heard me sing?
Oh, yes. Very often. I don't suppose you remember me at all?
You know, I have an idea I've seen you before. I had that idea as soon as you opened the door. It seemed almost like I was about to remember your name. But the name that I started to call you wasn't a name, so I stopped myself before I said it.
Was it Blue Roses?
Blue roses. My gosh, yes. Blue roses. That's what I had on my tongue when you opened the door. Isn't it funny what tricks your memory plays? I didn't connect you with high school somehow or other, but that's where it was. It was high school. I didn't even know you were Shakespeare's sister. Gosh, I'm sorry.
I didn't expect you to. You barely knew me.
But we did have a speaking acquaintance, yeah?
Oh, yes, we spoke to each other.
When did you recognize me?
Oh, right away.
Soon as I came in the door?
When I heard your name, I thought it was probably you. I knew that Tom used to know you a little in high school, so when you came to the door, well, then I was sure.
Why didn't you say something then?
I didn't know what to say. I was too surprised.
For goodness sake. You know, this sure is funny.
Yes. Yes, it is, isn't it?
Didn't we have a class in something together?
Yes, we did.
What class was that?
It was singing, chorus.
Oh.
I sat across from the aisle from you in the auditorium.
Oh!
Mondays, Wednesdays. It was always so hard for me getting up the stairs. I had that brace on my leg, clumped so loud.
I never heard any clumping.
To me, it sounded like thunder.
Well, I never even noticed.
Everybody was seated before I came in. I had to walk in front of all those people. My seat was in the back row. I had to go clumping all the way up the aisle with everyone watching.
You shouldn't have been so self-conscious.
I know, but I was. It was always such a relief when the singing started.
Ah, yes. I've placed you now. I used to call you Blue Roses. How was it I got started calling you that?
Well, I was out of school a little while with pleurosis. When I came back, you asked me what the matter was. I said I had pleurosis, but you thought I said blue roses. That's what you called me always after that.
I hope you didn't mind.
Oh, no, I liked it. You see, I wasn't acquainted with many people.
As I remember, you sort of stuck by yourself.
I never had much luck making friends.
I don't see why you wouldn't.
Well, I started out badly.
You mean being...
Yes, it sort of stood between me
You
and...
shouldn't have let it.
I know, but it did.
You were shy with people.
I tried not to be, but I never could.
Overcome it?
No, I couldn't.
I guess being shy is something you have to work out of kind of gradually.
Yes, I guess it
Takes time?
Yes.
People are not so dreadful when you know them. That's what you have to remember. And everybody has problems, not just you, but practically everybody has got some sort of problem. You think of yourself as having the only problems, as being the only one who's disappointed. But just look around you, and you'll see lots of people as disappointed as you are. For instance, I hoped, when I was going to high school, that I would be further along at this time, 6 years later, than I am now. You remember that wonderful write-up I had in the paper?
Yes.
It said I was bound to succeed in anything I went into. Holy jeez, you still have the clipping?
And I also still have the program of the Pirates of Penzance.
I sang the baritone lead in that operetta.
So beautifully.
Oh.
Yes, beautifully, just beautifully.
You heard me?
All 3 times.
No.
Yes,
All 3 performances?
yes.
Why?
I wanted to ask you for your autograph.
Well, why didn't you?
You were always surrounded by your own friends, so much that I never had the chance to.
You should have just...
Well, I thought you might think I was...
Thought I might think you were what?
Oh,
I was beleaguered by females in those days.
you were terribly popular.
Yeah.
You had such a friendly way.
I was spoiled in high school.
Everybody liked you.
Everybody, including you?
Yes, I did too.
Well, well, well. Give me that program, Laura. There you are. Better late than never.
Oh, what a surprise.
My signature isn't worth very much right now, but someday, maybe, it'll increase in value. Being disappointed is one thing, but being discouraged is something else. I am disappointed, but I'm not discouraged. I'm 23 years old. How old are you?
I'll be 24 in June.
That's not old age.
No, but
You finished high school?
I didn't go back.
You mean you dropped out?
I made bad grades in my final examinations. How is Emily Meisenbach going along?
Oh, that krauthead.
Why do you call her that?
That's what she was.
You're not still going with her?
I never see her.
But it said in the personal section that you were engaged.
I know, but I wasn't impressed by that propaganda.
It wasn't the truth?
Only in Emily's optimistic opinion.
Oh,
What have you done since high school? I said, what have you done since high school, Laura?
oh, nothing much.
You must have been doing something these 6 long years.
Oh, yes.
Well then, such as what?
I took a business course at a business college.
How did that work out?
Well, not very well. I had to drop out. It gave me indigestion.
And what are you doing now?
Oh, I don't do anything much. Oh, but please don't think I sit around doing nothing. My glass collection takes up a good deal of time. Glass is something you have to take good care of.
Sorry, what did you say about glass?
Collection. I have one.
You know what I judge to be the trouble with you? Inferiority complex. You know what that is? That's what they call it when someone low rates himself. I understand it because I had it too. Although my call was not so aggravated as yours seems to be. I had it until I took up public speaking, developed my voice, and learned that I had an aptitude for science. Before that time, I never thought of myself as being outstanding in any way whatsoever. Now, I've never made a regular study of it, but I have a friend who says I can analyze people better than doctors that make a profession of it. I don't claim that to be necessarily true, but I can sure guess a person's psychology, Laura. Excuse me, Laura, I always take it out when the flavor is gone. I'll use this scrap of paper to wrap it in. I know how it is to get stuck on a shoe. Yep, that's what I judge to be your principal trouble. A lack of amount of faith in yourself as a person. You don't have the proper amount of faith in yourself. I'm basing that fact on a number of your remarks and also on certain observations I've made. For instance, that clumping you thought was so awful in high school. You say that you even dreaded to walk into class. You see what you did? You dropped out of school. You gave up an education because of a clump, which, as far as I know, is practically non-existent. A little physical defect is what you have. Hardly noticeable even. Magnified thousands of times by imagination. You know what my strong advice to you is? Think of yourself as superior in some way.
Well, in what way would I think?
Why, man alive, Laura, just look about you a little. What do you see? A world full of common people. All of them born, and all of them going to die. Which one of them is 1/10 of your good points? Or mine? Or anyone else's as far as that goes? Gosh, everybody excels in some one thing, some in many. All you've got to do is discover in what. Take me, for instance. My interest happens to lie in electrodynamics. I'm taking a course in radio engineering at night school, Laura, on top of a fairly responsible job at the warehouse. I'm taking that course and studying public speaking.
Oh.
Because I believe in the future of television. I wish to be ready to go right up along with it. Therefore, I'm planning to get in on the ground floor. In fact, I've already made the right connections, and all that remains is for the industry itself to get underway. Full steam. Knowledge, zip. Money, zip. Power. That's the cycle democracy is built on. I guess you think I think a lot of myself.
No.
Well, how about you? Isn't there something you take more interest in than anything else?
Oh, well, I do, as I said, have my glass collection.
I'm not right sure I know what you're talking about. What kind of glass is it?
Little articles of it. They're ornaments, mostly. Most of them are little animals made out of glass, the tiniest little animals in the world. Mother calls it my glass menagerie. Here's an example of one if you'd like to see it. This one's the oldest. It's nearly 13. Oh, but be careful. If you breathe, it breaks.
I'd better not take it. I'm pretty clumsy with things.
Go on. I trust you with him. There now. You're holding him gently. Hold him over the light. He loves the light. You see how the light shines right through him?
It sure does shine.
I shouldn't be partial, but he is my favorite one.
What kind of a thing is he supposed to be?
Haven't you noticed the single horn on his forehead?
A unicorn, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Unicorns. Aren't they extinct in the modern world?
I know.
Poor little fellow. He must feel sort of lonesome.
Well, if he does, he doesn't complain about it. He stays on a shelf with some horses that don't have horns, and all of them seem to get along quite nicely together.
How do you know?
Well, I haven't heard any arguments among them.
No arguments, huh? Well, that's a pretty good sign. Where shall I set him?
You can set him on the table. They all like a change of scenery once in a while.
Well, 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 well. Look how big my shadow is when I stretch.
Oh, yes, it stretches across the ceiling.
I think it stopped raining. Where does the music come from?
From the Paradise Dance Hall across the alley.
How about cutting the rug a little, Miss Wingfield?
Oh.
Or is your program filled up? Let me have a look at it. Why, every dance is taken. I'll just have to scratch some out. Ah, a waltz.
I can't dance.
There you go, that inferiority stuff. Come on, try.
Oh, but I'd step on you.
I'm not made of glass.
How do we start?
Just leave it to me. You hold your arms out a little.
Like this?
A little bit higher. Right. No, don't tighten up. That's the main thing about it. Relax.
It's hard not to. I'm afraid you can't budge me.
What do you bet I can't?
Goodness. Yes, you can.
Let yourself go now, Laura. Just let yourself go. Come on.
I'm trying.
Not so stiff. Easy does it.
I know, but I...
Loosen the backbone. Now, there. That's a lot better.
Am I?
Lots better.
Oh, my. Oh, my goodness. Oh.
Ah! What did we hit on?
Oops. The table.
Oh, did something fall off of it? I think...
Oh, yes.
I hope it wasn't the little glass horse with the horn.
Yes.
Oh, is it broken?
Oh. Now it's just like all the other horses.
It's lost its...
Horn. It doesn't matter. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise.
You'll never forgive me. I bet that was your favorite piece of glass.
Oh, I don't have favorites much. It's no tragedy. Freckles. Glass breaks so easily. No matter how careful you are. The traffic jars the shelves and things fall off of them.
Still, I'm awfully sorry that I was the cause.
I'll just imagine he had an operation. The horn was removed to make him feel less freakish. Now he'll feel more at home with all the other horses, the ones that don't have horns.
That's very funny. I'm glad to see you have a sense of humor. You know, you're, well, very different. Surprisingly different from anyone else I know. Do you mind me telling you that? I mean it in a nice way. You make me feel sort of, I don't know how to put it. I'm usually pretty good at expressing things, but this is something I don't know how to say. Has anyone ever told you you were pretty? Well, you are. In a very different way from anyone else. And all the nicer because of the difference, too. I wish that you were my sister. I'd teach you to have some confidence in yourself. The different people are not like other people. But being different is nothing to be ashamed of. Because other people are not such wonderful people. They're 100 times 1,000. You're 1 times 1. They walk all over the earth, you just stay here. They're as common as weeds, but you, well, you're blue roses.
But blue is wrong for roses.
It's right for you. You're pretty.
In what respect am I pretty?
In all respects. Believe me. Your eyes, your hair is pretty, your hands are pretty. You think I'm making this up because I'm invited to dinner and have to be nice. Oh, I could do that. I could put on an act for you, Laura, but I'm very sincere. I'm talking to you sincerely. I happen to notice you have this inferiority complex that keeps you from feeling comfortable with people. Somebody needs to build your confidence up and make you proud instead of shy and turning away and blushing. Somebody ought to kiss you, Laura. I'm sorry, Laura. I shouldn't have kissed you. I shouldn't have done that. Would you care for a mint? Peppermint lifesaver? My pocket's a regular drugstore wherever I go. Laura, you know, if I had a sister like you, I'd do the same thing as Tom. I'd bring out fellows and